For the Chapter 1, Section 5 investigation, you'll be using the materials that you see in these pictures. We're modifying the investigation from the reading packet just a little bit. The question of the investigation remains the same. We're looking at the relationship between the braking distance and the initial speed. Braking distance and initial speed are described in the investigation in the reading packet. Be sure to read that information. Once you've read that, write your hypothesis in your physics log. These are the materials that you will need. You will find them in drawer number 2 in the orange lab cart near the door. Before you go any further, you must stop and do steps 1 and 2 in the Section 5 investigation as described in the reading. This is a pre-lab piece of information, and you must complete this part by answering these questions before you get the materials to do the rest of the investigation. Make sure you answer all of the questions in steps 1 and 2 in your physics log. After you have completed steps 1 and 2 and gotten those checked, then you'll be making a data table to record your information. Your data table should have 2 columns, with the one heading being height and the other heading being distance. Be sure to have height in the X column and distance in the Y column. That will be very helpful for graphing later. For the procedure, you need to have a piece of track to make a ramp. So you need to have at least 2 pieces of track. You're going to be setting your ramp up on a wooden block to give it some height and then measuring and writing down the height of your ramp. You can see the setup in the picture here. You're going to be putting the car at the edge of the wooden block on the ramp. That's going to be considered your starting point, or the origin, or the 0 position. It is very important that you use the same toy car for each part of the experiment. Each car has a slightly different structure, which means that the wheels are slightly different, which gives it a slightly different amount of friction. That's what's going to affect the braking distance. The car will naturally come to a stop after a certain distance due to the friction slowing down the motion of the car. Make sure you follow the procedure in the steps listed above. After doing your initial trials with one height, you're going to be changing the height of your track and repeating the experiment following the steps above. Make sure that you do at least 3 different heights. Now you're ready to analyze your data. You're going to use the data from your data table to make a graph of the average braking distance versus height. Make sure you're making your graph correctly. You will then find the slope of the line and figure out our answer to the initial question, which was what is the relationship between braking distance and initial speed. Make sure you complete steps 5 through 7 of the investigation as described in the reading. You're going to be analyzing your data using the instructions in steps 5 through 7 of the investigation from the reading. Make sure you're writing down all of the information in your physics log. Thanks! I hope you have fun with this investigation.